people, and today we're going to take a look at this, the almighty G-Shock Master of G Mudmaster GWG-1000 series. But before we get started, please ensure to like, share and subscribe for more great videos like this one. Now, surprisingly or not, though I own many battery-powered watches, I haven't bought myself a battery-powered watch since the mid-90s. And though most of those watches were Casios, I have never owned a G-Shock. I always wanted one since their release in 1983, but I just never got around to buying one. I have no idea why. But anyway, I initially started my search looking at the GA100s for £110, and that was it. I was good to go. Until the following morning at breakfast. I thought to myself, what do I really need out of a watch? I have tons of mechanical and quartz watches that do all of the basic stuff, from telling the date and time to perpetual calendar, chronograph, GMT, dive and moon phase. I don't personally need or want a smartwatch, as I have a smartphone that does all that I need. I don't go running often enough, certainly don't want a device on my wrist with tech that goes out of date like the wind, with a battery life of a mayfly, or staring into a virtual screen that I cannot see clearly in daylight. Basically all the times I would be wearing and using the watch the most. I know that's not the case for every smartwatch, and many of you, including my good friend and fellow YouTuber WatchUp69, aka Mr. Rangeman, who swears by his G-Shock Rangeman GPRB-1000 smartwatch, will likely be swearing at his screen viewing this, possibly. By the way, a link to his excellent channel can be found in the description below. I have bought several smartwatches over the years, and they all end up in the drawer. I personally currently can't see the need for them yet, though in the grand scheme of things this is a form of tech, as it uses motherboard and chips, as well as components like cogs found in mechanical watches. The tools inside this thing work not via app with data sent through the internet, but by sensors, sensing and using the world around us. The digital compass, as we can see here, uses the Earth's magnetic forces. Very clever indeed. It also gives you the percentage of degree at which you are pointing or standing. The barometer on this side here detects the changes in atmospheric pressure and provides also, as it looks like we're going to actually have a storm on the way potentially, it's dropped massively, we can see provides the temperature as well. And then the altimeter shows us or provides us with our height above sea level, and so on. Tools that have not just been used for just decades or centuries, but in some cases, like the compass, for thousands of years, since approximately 206 BC, and they are still being used by the likes of pilots, the military and weather data centers today. So no matter how many smart devices you own, you will still need to have these old school tools with you if you are planning a hiking trip, mountain climb or such like. And when your smart device battery dies or struggles to pick up signal or GPS, which does and tends to happen, this watch won't let you down, with its solar power and 10-year battery life as well on top. Now, the watch is big. It measures a whopping 56 millimeters in diameter. And as you can see next to my Pre-Invicta Glycine Combat Sub, which measures 42 millimeters in diameter, it is a hefty chunk. So, I mean, just look at that. But having said all of that, though the watch is pretty big, I mean, it's 59 millimeters across, and I forget, I mean, just looking at it, it's probably 1.7. I need to check that to be sure. It's constructed extremely well. I mean, the lugs are fairly narrow in the grand scheme of this whole sort of case shape, and the additional sort of bulked out strap with the extra padding underneath, makes it sit extremely well on my 6.5-inch wrist. Once I can undo this buckle from the back here, I will show you. And it only weighs 119 grams. It's not that heavy at all. In fact, it's actually as heavy as the sub. The sub, for some reason, feels a little bit heavier. But without knocking the camera here, I don't know if you can see that. It does sit extremely well. And because of the way the strap has actually been sort of put together, so it's got these so it's constantly curving round, it ain't going anywhere on your wrist. So you can always have it one notch on the bracelet or band bigger if you are going to, if you're like me and your wrists expand in the heat. Then it's quite handy to have that additional sort of gap around your wrist when walking. Anyway, so now I'm not going to run through all of the watch's features and functions, as fellow YouTuber Watch Geek has created 2 fantastic how-tos. Links to those videos can be found in the description below. And thanks to these videos, he has saved me many valuable hours and time, and frustration in fact, from going through the ginormous, actually, bear with me, I will show you the ginormous manual. So, it's just, bear with me, just here a second. Oh, getting there. Right. Oh, taking out the watch. It's that big. Right, so this, I don't know if you can, let's just zoom out a second so we can just see the sheer velocity of this thing here. Let's just move that out away from the shot. Yeah, I mean, it's ridiculous. It's bigger than the entire 32 volumes of the Encyclopedia Britannica. Plus, I don't understand so many different languages. Okay, sorry, that is a terrible joke. This is the actual manual, and it is thick. It's one of the, if not the largest Casio watch manual I have ever seen. That said, let's talk about the elephant in the room. That's not another bad joke about the size of this bad boy, but reference to its actual price. Now, let's just zoom back in here a second. There we go. Now, the price, it retails for £660, and that will sound pretty expensive or pricey to many of you. And there are many other G-Shock watches that have the same, if not more, functions for half the price and less. However, you can find these online a lot cheaper. The cheapest I could find this was through through Deals Guru one. I will show you on the page now, on eBay for roughly $460. Obviously, not including the relevant duties and taxes. Either way, even at its full retail price, let's go off the screen there because I'm not looking what I'm doing, it's a lot of bang for the buck. It's still excellent value for money. And what sets this watch apart from its more affordable family members is not just its build quality and finish, but the materials used, such as AR-coated sapphire crystal glass, neo-bright luminescence. I'll put a picture on the screen up now of that luminescence. There you go. It's carbon resin strap, but also things such as the cleverly thought out weight saving measures, such as making the second hand out of carbon fibre to conserve battery life, putting less stress on the mechanism and therefore battery, and of course all of the crazy components making up the layers underneath the skin. And the thing that clenched the deal for me the most, the design. It's awesome. Yeah, it's a big boy's toy truck, but one I'll actually use as it was intended, and that brings me great joy and satisfaction. Most of the time, I feel guilty for buying yet another watch I don't actually need, whereas this has purpose. Another awesome thing about pretty much every Casio and predominantly G-Shock range is you really don't have to worry about bashing this thing around. the most frustrating thing for me is always adding a new scratch or dent to one of my new or existing watches. Of course, this adds character, but every time a part of one of my watches gets hit, a small part of me dies inside. Okay, that's an exaggeration, but it does hurt. So, of course, most scratches can be polished out or brushed out, but there is only so much polishing and brushing you should do. Whereas with these, you can scratch the hell out of them and simply replace any part yourself for very little money. For example, I bought myself a backup replacement bezel. Here we go. From a company called Toughness here in the UK for £9.50. Including post and packaging. And you can find every genuine and aftermarket replacement part you need for almost any Casio all over the internet. And pretty much, no matter what you throw at a G-Shock, it won't let you down. They have stood the test of time. You can buy yourself a vintage G-Shock, and though it may need a replacement strap, it will still work exactly the same way as it did when it left the factory 40 odd years ago. Now that is testament to Casio's stringent research and testing. If, for example, a newly designed watch failed any of Casio's major tests, it would be not back to the drawing board. They abort the project. They literally throw years of dedicated hard work in the bin. Links to these videos, by the way, can be found in the description below. In my view, everyone should have at least one Casio watch in their collection. They are the most understated, obviously not all understated by design, but they are one of the most understated brands. They are classless. From millionaires and billionaires to the penniless student, Casio watches hold their own in a world where luxury brands usually prevail. Thank you for watching, and if you enjoyed this video, then please ensure to like, share and subscribe.